eCapitol News Director Sean Ashley joins us with other developments at the Capitol this week. Sean, thanks for joining us.
You're very welcome.
Now, the governor released a study on changes to veterans health care. What's that all about?
Well, for the last several years, the governor has had this task force that's been looking at the needs of veterans across the state, and a big focus of that has been their health care, getting them access to doctors across the state and getting them appointments much more quickly. That was the conclusion of the task force as to what needed to be done. So it appears the state will be seeking about a $250 million grant over 3 years to begin this process of connecting veterans with more local doctors in order to get them those appointments and get them in to see the doctor much more quickly. This will be run through the Oklahoma Department of Veterans Affairs, and its director said they will probably look at a third-party outside provider to help set up the program and really get it going, provided the state gets the $250 million grant.
Now, the House Appropriations and Budget Committee is once again discussing an end to the state's capital gains tax. Is anything moving there?
Well, that was one of the more hot topics during the 2018 regular legislative session. House Democrats tried more than a dozen times to get a bill that repealed the capital gains tax heard on the House floor. That never happened. One of the concerns was from the agricultural community, who are often the beneficiaries of this exemption because a lot of their sales generate capital gains. If you sell a cow that you purchased several years ago and held for the required number of years for a higher price, that difference is capital gains.
Oh.
And there's a lot of that happening within the agricultural industry. The talk on Tuesday was about whether or not there could be an exemption carved out for the agriculture industry, and it appears that would be rather difficult, but those talks are going to continue.
Thousands of parole requests may soon be hitting the state's Pardon and Parole Board because of a new state law. What's happening there?
Right. During the last legislative session, what is called administrative parole was created. And what this does is for an inmate who meets certain qualifications, they've been incarcerated for a certain number of years, and they've met other qualifications, they automatically qualify for a parole review. According to estimates, this could be 2,000 to 3,000 inmates on the first batch. That's about 10% of our state's prison population. And that would be a lot of additional work for the Pardon and Parole Board to consider in its 3-day monthly meetings.
Now, very quickly, the State Board of Health got an update on the vaccinations of children entering kindergarten. What was learned there?
Vaccination rates remain high, but what the state of Oklahoma needs to do is update some of its administrative rules and laws to reflect recent changes at the Centers for Disease Control on recommendations for dosages and the number of vaccines that are needed.
Sean Ashley from eCapitol News, thanks for joining us.
You're very welcome.